And I'm Lenny Kluge.
We're two immigrants living in Chile, bringing you information on news, cultural topics, travel, business, and more.
The Chile Today podcast is the first ever bi-weekly English news podcast.
For more information about the news topics you will hear today, check out our news affiliate, chiletoday.cl.
If you have any questions, stories to share, or just want to say hi, message us on Instagram at Chile Today Podcast or email us at chiletodaypodcast@gmail.com.
If you're feeling generous, rate and review us so that more people can find our podcast. Okay, we're starting. We're just rambling.
We might as well just leave this shit in. There's so many movies I gotta watch.
Okay, so hey Lenny, what's going on?
I'm fine. How are you doing? Reminiscing about movies and series that I need to watch.
There are so many movies and series we have to watch. Well, I'm pretty caught up, or I'm trying to catch up. I'm pretty good about movies and series, but you're real behind because you're old.
I'm old and I'm busy. Excuse me.
I'm busy too, but I have important things.
You make times.
I make time for important things in my life, like making sure I've seen every single Marvel series that exists.
God. You know, I feel like I gotta take a week off or something just to be like, okay, now The Witcher, now
The Witcher's
FCU,
so good. Season 2 of The Witcher.
I don't know what. And
surprisingly, this is a podcast about Chile, not about media and movies.
Well, it can be whatever you want it to be. So let's just, you know what, we're gonna change the topic now.
So wait, so what have you been up to in the city these days?
Oh, it's been Xmasing a lot. So how was your holidays?
Oh, it was a holiday. It was
a vacation.
So my vacation was amazing. I went to Mexico for 2 weeks, and I just relaxed and I slept and went on some food tours. Ate a lot of food. My pants a little bit tighter, but
Mexican
# worth it. Vale la pena, as they say. Vale la pena. Yeah, and
yeah, I got that.
Yeah, I was just like, I really hope our listeners, if this is the first time, they don't think I actually talk like that. So I felt a little obligated to be like, I don't actually talk like that. So yeah, I'm glad you've had a great holiday.
Yeah, I got a lot of socks for Christmas.
But is that a good thing?
Yeah, you know, like I used to think it's very cliche, which it absolutely is. But then it's like you can't do nothing wrong with socks.
You can't do nothing wrong with socks.
You can't do nothing wrong with socks.
Surprisingly, I'm the person from the south of the U.S. and you're not. It's
just rubbing off.
Yeah. Let's not talk about rubbing off right now, okay?
Oh, nice.
So, before we get straight into our news for today, we have some event announcements to tell you guys about for upcoming things happening in January. So we have a friend named Mateos who's doing stand-up comedy. It is in Spanish, but if you are bilingual, you speak Spanish, you want to practice your Spanish in a really cool way, there's a show at this bar called Bar Bestia every Tuesday this month. It starts at 7:30 and it costs 4,000 pesos, and I believe you can pay at the door. So that's that.
Actually, let me just add to that. It's not only stand-up comedy. I actually talked to him about it a little bit, and he showed me a few bits and pieces. It's more of
it's like a digital
audio-visual experience.
Yeah, like a digital interactive thing that's also comedic. Yeah. Like, I definitely want to go.
Yeah, I absolutely gonna go because I think, like, in a way, and I don't use this word lightly, it's kind of revolutionary, if you will, in this space because I've never seen anything like that before. So I think it's gonna be really fun.
I'm excited about it, and to book every Tuesday in Bar Bestia, it's got to be pretty good.
Yeah.
Because that's a really good bar. So that bar is near Plaza Nuñoa. No, it's not. Oh,
no,
shut up, Bethany. Shut up. It's near Metro Monumont.
Yeah.
You're right. And then our next event that myself and Pinguino are hosting is a horrible movie night, which some people think is really cool sounding. Some people don't get it. It's where we watch a horrible movie. And
it's really that simple.
It's really that simple. It's fun because it's a really casual way to meet new people and to laugh, and it's intentionally that we're watching horrible movies so we can laugh at them. And it's a free event. It's going to be at the Black Rock on January 13th, and we're watching The Alligator People, which is a 1959 horror movie situation.
Is it like a black and white kind of thing?
Yeah.
Oh my.
So it's going to be so good. It's free, and you just go to the bar. You can drink some beers if you want, eat some food, whatever you want to do, hang out. It's going to be a good time. Super chill, laid back. So that's on the 13th of January. These events we're going to post on our page. So, or if you have questions, you can message us at Chile Today Podcast on Instagram or chiletodaypodcast@gmail.com. So the last event that we have that's already been planned is actually all three of us, Pinguino, Lenny, and myself, are coordinating a bilingual trivia night. It's really fun. You create a team, I believe, of up to 3 people this month, and you answer questions on a piece of paper for different rounds, 1 round English, 1 Spanish, and they alternate like that. And each round there's a winner who wins prizes. There's different topics. It's really fun. Again, a way to meet people. If you're confused or have questions, message us at Chile Today Podcast on Instagram or at Chile Today Podcast at gmail.com.
Yeah, and that being said, usually the trivia night is a very popular event, so
you have to make a reservation.
And make it soon, because these tables are gone in a jiffy.
In a jiffy jaff. Yeah, it's a popular event. So the horrible movie night's more casual. So usually there's seats available there. You do have to have your pase de movilidad, your mobility pass, to come to any of the events. So keep that in mind, especially as we begin talking about COVID right about now. Okay, COVID news. Lenny, pull up your socks that you got for Christmas. Listen with your ears, your ear holes to our COVID news. So there's actually quite a few things to talk about with COVID. If you're living in Chile, you're lucky because we have been rated, if you don't know, the #1 country in the world to live in during Omicron, or like the safest country, the country that's most ready to combat Omicron, I guess, kind of like.
Yeah, I think they call it the COVID-19 resilience ranking.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
But this was specifically for Omicron, and it says Chile is the #1 country in the world.
Yeah.
We're not the #1 country for vaccination rates. We're number 4. Apparently.
I read #2, but
I read this article today, and it was from 6 hours ago when I read it.
Was it a Bloomberg? Was it a Bloomberg study? Or,
yeah.
Right there. Well, either way, we're doing pretty good, guys.
So. We're doing pretty good, whether it's 2 or 4.
Yeah. Tomato.
Yeah. So we're number 4 in the world with immunization. I think maybe one of the reasons we're falling behind is because of the 3rd dose. That maybe they're now taking into consideration the 3rd dose because 1 million Chileans will lose their mobility pass starting on January 1st because they don't have their 3rd dose.
Million Chilean.
Million Chilean. So if you are listening to this and you live in Chile and you haven't gotten your 3rd dose, guys, you're going to lose your mobility pass come January 1st. Get on it.
I mean, that being said, we're doing pretty well with the booster shot too. I mean, I think we're one of the first countries to actually have I got my booster.
Yeah, I boosted.
Like, I got boosted before my parents got boosted back there in good old Germany, so...
Yeah, I think that's just Chile in general, though. We're literally above the curve.
Above the fray.
We flattened the curve.
Still doing a pretty good job there.
Yeah, we have an average of about 1,200-ish cases per day in the country. We were down to below 1,000 before Christmas, but because of elections and things like that and Christmas, we're up to 1,200-ish each day.
Yeah, but also, I mean, you gotta take this with a grain of salt because like testing has gone down a lot, also because of the Christmas season.
Yeah.
Now I think we're maybe not at an all-time low, but at a pretty low point when it comes to testing.
There's sometimes there's a huge turnout because nobody works on Christmas, so there's a backlog. So then
there's a spike.
Yeah. No, but I think the number that you need to be looking at right now is the positivity rate, which thankfully has gone down consistently over the last couple of weeks. I think right as of today, we are at 2.13%, which is pretty good because that one has been in decline from about 3.5 in mid-November. Mm-hmm. So not too bad, not too shabby.
We have 90% of our population vaccinated with at least 1 vaccine, but at this point, having only 1 vaccine is just really not enough. You got to get that. You got to get your 2 vaccines. You got to get your booster. I mean, obviously, you can't get 3 vaccines at once. So consult with your doctor for how to do that.
Yeah.
I'm not it.
Yep. And actually, to back this point up, be aware that the Omicron variant is rising too right now. And you might not notice it because I've read that also a lot of the basically a lot of the infections are asymptomatic. Like,
I read they're really apparently like super chill.
I read an article from about 1 or 2 weeks ago, and they said like 50 to 25% of the infections are asymptomatic. And then I read another article today, and then that number actually went up to 34. So I might not even know that you're sick. Not get tested.
One of the problems, for example, in the U.S. is that there is not a lot of testing going on, and it's like ravaging the U.S. Like they have, I think they broke a record yesterday with the highest cases, but that's still with as low as the U.S. testing goes. I mean, the U.S. is very, if you're living in the U.S., I hate to break it to you, but you guys are real slow on tests. I mean, I traveled all over the state of Arkansas to get a PCR, and they were like, it'll be ready in 4 days. And I'm like, what are you talking about? How can it be 4 days before I get a PCR test? Like, I don't even understand how that can even exist. Like, how many people can you infect in 4 days?
4 days, that's actually a lot. I mean, when I was in the U.S., it was usually ready by the next day. I mean,
it's 24 hours and because it depends on the backlog. Right? Well, Arkansas, rural, and so there's probably limited labs and all sorts of things. But I mean, and they also now the PCRs in the U.S. cost like over $200. And so they're only doing rapid exams, or like most people are getting rapid exams. And as we have seen, those rapid exams got a lot of false positives and all kinks going on.
And also, they don't work for traveling if you're planning on coming to Chile.
No, for coming to Chile, you can't do a rapid exam. That's something you need to keep in mind if you're planning on traveling here. You have to get a PCR, and then you got to figure out how to get a PCR quickly because. It can't be more than 72 hours old by the time you take off when you come to Chile. And then you'll have to take another one when you get here. So something that was hilarious that I read in the New York Times about COVID in Chile. There was a New York Times reporter.
I don't think the words hilarious and COVID should be in one sentence.
No, it was hilarious. Okay, so there was a New York Times reporter. He came to Chile to cover different things. I don't know what he was covering, but he wrote the article about COVID in Chile.
COVID.
I guess, but he was like, I went to a winery, and so I was like, okay, you're doing COVID in Chile, and he was like, I was so impressed that even at the winery, all the Chileans kept their masks on. They must really be sticklers for rules. And I was like, girl, no.
Yeah, but he struck a nerve there, because that's actually something that I also noticed, that people here keep their mask, because I think correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you're not even legally required to wear your masks outside anymore. People still do it though, and even if they don't, nobody cares. I mean, it's not that I never see anybody like without a mask.
I think you still have to. We still have mask mandates.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure about outside though.
I'm pretty sure we still have mask mandates everywhere, because that wasn't a change when they changed the laws.
Yeah. Well,
they said we're like maintaining mask mandates, which makes me think that it's still everywhere, because I didn't see any changes to that.
Well, if you guys know any better, write in, let us know. But but be this as it may, like the thing is that. Okay, you see a couple of guys without masks and nobody says something,
but someone like on a bike or something.
Yeah, I mean, like honestly, like when I'm on a bike and I wear my sunglasses, I take off my mask because I'm not gonna see shit because my glasses are gonna get all fogged up.
Well, it's summer, so I'll pull my mask down a little if I don't see anybody. Right. But if I see somebody close, like I'm about to walk past someone, I pop my mask back on.
And that's the thing. Okay, my point is that like everybody still wears the mask outside. And nobody's actually complaining about it.
Nobody gives a shit. Like that's the thing. It's not
like this would never happen in the States or in Germany.
And I don't think it has anything to do with people being like. That's the thing that made me laugh is I think it has nothing to fucking do with following rules, because Chile does not give a shit about rules. It's more about just like. This isn't a fucking big deal. Like wear the mask. Also, I don't want to fucking get sick, and I don't want you to get fucking sick. Like. I don't think it's anything to do with rules more than it's just like, why the fuck not? Yeah.
What will people say when you go around without
You're so right. Okay, so Pinguino made a good point. Like, Chileans, we've talked about this before in one of our other episodes about, like, the things you think about Chileans or the things that are actually true or not true about Chileans is Chileans are very, they have a lot of shame. So I think Pinguino's right on the mark when he says, I think Chileans are embarrassed of the idea that somebody's going to judge them if they're not wearing a mask. But I'm not like that, and I still wear my mask outside.
And I think also it hasn't been turned into a political issue to the same degree as it has been turned into a political issue in the U.S. or in Germany or whatever.
Because again, nobody gives a shit.
Yeah, because in the U.S. it's kind of like if you wear a mask or don't wear a mask, it's like a statement, Or
it's like freedom.
Yeah, and it's just like no, let's just wear your fucking mask, just don't be a dick.
Yeah, no, and I don't get it. Like, I mean, again, you might be like, oh, it doesn't matter, you're walking outside. Again, someone close to me said recently, with how emotional the pandemic has been, Okay, that noise was Lenny cracking his fingers like a dope.
Like a manly man.
Like a manly man. Like a bruh. Okay, so one of my friends said that there's some, as selfish as people have been during the pandemic, it's nice to see people wearing masks because, you know, like that person is in some way like respecting your space and respecting you, because it's like, yeah, I don't want to get sick, but I'm also cool with you not getting sick. Because when you see somebody that's not wearing a mask in a closed space, you're kind of like, bro, okay, fuck me then, I guess.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Either way, I don't know about you, but I think, like, right now we're doing...
22. What? No.
Is
okay.
that a song? Okay, good. Like, right now we're doing pretty well. My personal outlook, and call me jaded, I think...
Hey, jaded.
We're gonna...
Hey,
oh, God, such
jaded.
a dad joke. I think we're gonna be good until, like, mid to end February, and then we're gonna be fucked again, because then what's everybody coming... This is when everybody's coming back from their beach vacation.
Yeah, but they've already talked about the fourth dose. They're going to start implementing the fourth dose post-vacation.
And then we'll see. Yeah, but that's going to take a while. It's not like everybody's getting the fourth dose on the same day. You know, that's going to take a while to implement. And also, then we'll see how effective the vaccines are against the Omicron variant.
Omicron.
Well,
they're saying it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Though, like...
I mean, I hope I'm wrong, man. It's not that I'm really betting on this.
Again, COVID's going to be in our lives forever now. And I would not... Like, with the... Like, so right now, the U.S. is quote-unquote going back into quarantine, which is bullshit, because if you're from the U.S.,
Y'all don't know what quarantine is.
You guys don't know what quarantine is. We were in quarantine for 6 months, unable to leave our apartments. I didn't see these two guys organically for, like, a year. And Pinguino literally lives a block away from me.
Flesh.
So okay. Anyway, so again, it wouldn't surprise me if we have to go back at some point, but it'll be so much shorter, I think. Anyway, that's the update for COVID stuff. What do you got for me?
Well, I got so much right now, but let's talk about the most important thing. So something happened actually on December 16th. Mrs. Lucia Iriart died.
99 years
99
young.
years old, young. Actually, she just had a birthday, I think a few days, like a week before she passed away.
Oh my God.
She turned 99, so she wasn't even close to making 100. If you don't know who Lucia Iriart is, she is the widow of Chile's former dictator, Augusto Pinochet.
Mm-hmm. People have been waiting a long time for
Yeah, and she has been... Okay, if you don't know that, like, I think she has been admitted to the ICU, like, throughout the last 10 years, like, I don't know, 50 times, like, and everybody's going to be like,
is she dead? or there have been, like, chats. I know this sounds really insensitive, but she was, like, she actually helped facilitate murder of a lot of people. So, for reasons that are obvious, people were really, well, she was never arrested, never charged with anything. So, a lot of people were like, just die. Like, and it was... As you know, there's all these jokes in Chile. Like, there's been a Facebook event that's been... how old is that Facebook event? Like, 10 years old?
Oh, yeah, or
and
the Twitter account.
there's a 10-year-old Facebook event that's like, when she dies, every Chilean is going to go to the streets and party. And it's like, you, like, accept the invitation to go to the party in the streets in Plaza de la Dignidad when she dies. And so this was a big deal for a lot of people.
That Twitter account that I didn't know about, which is like... Hashtag, just like freely translated, has she died yet? And then it posted every day, like, no.
Every single day the Twitter account posted no.
Yes.
Yes.
I don't know what happened to the account now, but they're
it
probably
just
retired.
Says, see, every day. And it's like,
it just keeps it going?
Yes.
It's got to be a bot by now.
I don't know. Whoever made that was dedicated.
Right.
But, oh my gosh, it's so funny.
So she passed away on December 16th, which actually coincided with the day that the political campaigning came to an end.
Yeah, it was like
which
the end
was
of the
just
campaigns.
like, wow, these guys went out with a bang, you know? It was really...
she was like coincidentally shot to death. No, I'm just kidding. She wasn't. She died of being old.
Being 99. I mean, that was okay to go. You know, she was old. So that was basically the last day of campaigning, and like literally 3 days before the runoff elections, which was just like, whoa, you couldn't have picked a better or worse time to die. It depends on your perspective, you know.
Right, and which if you're waiting for us to talk about the elections, don't worry, that's our main topic. We're getting past the like other updates of news, and then our main topic for today is Boric, basically.
And so of course, like this whole death has sparked some controversy because like there were a few tweets from flying Boric's team, especially from Cariola, who was tweeting something. She wasn't even celebrating her death. She was just like that's this old woman, she died and she has done this and this and this.
Yeah,
and
she
yada,
represented
yada, yada.
fascism in the country.
Yeah, and then Mario Desportes from Renovación Nacional, which is the center-right party, he criticized his team for like celebrating her death, and I was like, you know,
people have been planning this celebration for like 30, like since forever.
Yeah, and look, like me personally, I don't do celebrating deaths.
He doesn't celebrate every.
Yeah,
he's German. He's
I'm
very
a
serious.
robot. I'm a robot. No, it's just a weird thing for me to do. But I get it if people do celebrate certain things. But like what Carol Cariola tweeted there was not at all celebrating, and Boric even less so. He said something along the lines, what was it? He said like. Freely translated, he said, Lucia Irat died unpunished. I will not celebrate her death, but neither her impunity. That's all he said. Like,
yeah, and of course they're like, how dare he? And then, of course, Lucia's family was like, we're in pain. And I'm like, you know what? Who was in pain? All the people who were tortured and murdered because of her actions, okay? Yeah. So the family of the tortured and murdered people that are still alive can do whatever they want to. And, you know, you don't get to bitch about it. She lived 99 years. You had her for 99 years. You know,
let go.
Just shut up. Shut up.
Well, and Kast actually, he decided not to politicize this whole thing. So he was like, I'm not going to go to the funeral. His official declaration was, I don't know.
He didn't go to the funeral.
I am not surprised he didn't go to the funeral because he had to remember for the runoff, he had to appeal to the center. And that might have, you know, that would have been a bad image for him. For certain voters from the center. His official declaration was just like, well, I don't know the family, we don't have any connection, so you know, I don't want to intrude into this family affair.
Like he hasn't partied at Pinochet's house. Like he was literally one of the faces of the C movement. Okay, whatever.
Yeah, but okay, so that was his take on this whole thing. But yeah, she did.
She died. Okay, well, I have less. I think less political news, which is the Enel team secured green hydrogen support in Chile. Which this is very dry news, but for those of you who know things about green hydrogen. So Enel Green Power Chile and Highly Innovative Fuels, HIF, have secured financial support for the Faro del Sur green hydrogen project in Chile.
Hold on. HIF? What? Highly Innovative, that's actually their name?
Highly Innovative Fuels.
That is so on the nose.
I'm pretty Yeah, because this isn't...
Oh, man.
Yeah, HIF.
What a name.
Sorry,
go on.
No, you're good. So they've secured financial support for Faro del Sur green hydrogen project in Chile. The duo have been awarded close to 16.9 million through what's called the first call for green hydrogen project funding in Chile.
That's a mouthful.
Organized by the country's Production Development Corporation, Corfo. Enel said that the purpose of the funding is to accelerate the implementation of initiatives contributing to the energy transition to carbon neutrality. Faro del Sur is the largest initiative and the only one in the Magallanes region to obtain funding. It added, the project is expected to produce 25,000 tons of green hydrogen a year, though the generation of wind power and the installation of electrolyzers with a capacity of approximately 241 MWs.
Megawatts.
Ooh, thank you. EGP Chile Business Development Manager Fernando Mesa said, this marks a new step forward for a project that will produce green hydrogen through the wind-powered electrolysis process. I don't know if that's his voice, but that's what I'm giving him. It's a process that demonstrates our commitment to promoting innovative solutions that contribute to the sustainable development of the country. HIF
totally talks like that.
Yep. I don't know if this is the first time you're listening to us. We're not very serious news people.
What?
If you want real serious news, go to our news affiliate, ChileToday.co.
I'm absolutely serious. I'm a professional, excuse me.
I'm a professional too. Okay.
Just not in this field.
HIF Global Chief Executive Clara Baumann said these types of incentives are one more step towards a sustainable economy that will help position Chile as one of the top producers of green hydrogen and its derivatives in the world. If you can't see me, I'm doing like a power pose. Because that's how I imagine her.
Is that how your power pose looks like?
It is.
It's pretty pathetic.
Don't laugh at me. The Corfo Fund awarded a total of $50 million and received applications from 12 national and foreign companies interested in developing and executing green hydrogen production projects in Chile. One of the requirements to participate in the process was that the projects consider an electrolyzer capacity of at least 10 megawatts. Additionally, the commissioning of the project must not take place after 31st of December 2025. So, green hydrogen.
For the win!
For the wind! Nice. So there we go. Chile doing what it does, which is, leaning on green initiatives, which, of course, in reality are good investments for Chile financially.
Yeah. I mean, if that's a win-win, I mean, if those two, why not,
Yeah.
Might as well.
Yep, do it.
Well, since you're talking about, what's the technical term? Energy carriers? Energy sources, whatever.
We're
I got another one for you.
Mm-hmm.
So you might have heard of Lipigas, which is one of the big three of big gas. Big gas. So we got Gasco, Abastible, and then there's Lipigas. I don't know who's the biggest one, but they might be.
I'm going to say Gasco, only because I like them. Gasco.
The guy who goes out in the street selling the whole thing.
Mm-hmm. Selling the Gasco.
Gasco. Yeah. So Lipigas got slapped with a fine of 189 million pesos because what did they do? Well, they were accused of stashing away more than 20,000 gas cylinders of a local cheaper competitor, which is called Gas HN, in the Maule region, which is down south.
Okay.
So what happens there is that usually customers of this local gas company, they habitually return empty gas cylinders to Lipigas reps because it's just easier.
Sure.
So they make use of the infrastructure, which I guess is, kind of makes sense if you think about telecommunication carriers. They usually just also use their each other's phone lines or whatever. I guess they have kind of a similar deal.
So they hid the gas cans to make a shortage?
Well, that's not what they said because we didn't. But it smelled.
We found a warehouse full of.
Exactly. So basically, so the deal is that Lipigas needs to report at least once a month the number of third-party cylinders on their hands, which they didn't do. And basically, Lipigas had 20,000 cylinders of
20,000. That's not like 18. It's like 20,000.
And Gas HN only had 6,000 on stock. So
oh my God, what fuckers!
And that's, of course, that drives up the price, right? Because you have less to offer, so you gotta up the price, which is kind of crucial because the Gas HN is a lot cheaper than big gas. Lipigas, Abastible, and Gasco. So, the 15-kilogram cylinder that Gas HN offers is about, what they say, 7,990 pesos cheaper than the one from Abastible, which is round about 20%, if I got that right. So that's a big difference.
That's a big difference.
And of course, Lipigas chalks the missing monthly report up to an administrative error, and they said that they have returned
18,000 or 20,000.
Well, that they didn't report it. They said, okay, that my bad doesn't happen again. But they said that they've returned all the cylinders to Gas HN, which according to them were exactly 2,368. They don't really know what happened to the other 17,000 something.
Yeah,
it's just
them.
It's not very believable if you ask me, but talking about collusion.
Yeah, and another thing that is kind of horrible about the thing is people who have to use those gas canisters are not usually people from really nice, it's poorer people typically are the ones that have to buy, or people who live in older buildings have to use those gas canisters.
And they're happy if they have a cheaper alternative.
Yeah, of course, because the times in my life when I've had to use Gasco or whatever were the times when I lived in older buildings or neighborhoods that were poorer. And in the regions, a lot of people in the regions use gas canisters to heat their homes or to run their grills or
in the sticks.
Yeah, and so it's not we're not talking about they're just taking advantage of everyone. It's targeting specifically poorer people who that 20% up. They feel that 20% bump.
Yeah.
Really, really significantly.
They didn't like another company undercutting their prices.
Ugh.
That's how this sounds to me.
Okay.
But yeah. You got something else?
Yeah, so sad news. The Chilean government is declaring a state of emergency, or not a state of emergency, but an emergency for forest fires.
Please not again.
Not again. There's already a state of emergency for the South, but this is a different emergency because of forest fires in the central and southern parts of Chile. So if you know anything about Chile, you know that we have a big problem with forest fires because we have had droughts for a long time. So we're having them again, our annual forest fires.
Well, if you're from California, you'd be like, you call that a forest fire?
I mean, I don't know. That one year, we had to have people from all over the world come with their tankers to like put out the fires. What was it, 2016?
They'd be like, we gotta be in California. What are we doing here?
Yeah, it was like 2016 or 17 that we had they requested firefighters from like Spain and Mexico and the US, and they like people donated planes to like put them out. It was so bad. Yeah, Australia. So many things.
Yeah. No, I think this year it's actually, I've read somewhere that it's 300% more than last year.
The forest fires?
Yeah, it's just crazy. It's getting worse by the year.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No.
Climate change is real, people.
Yeah, I think we just have less things to burn now because everything just burned down.
Yeah,
Okay.
like, honestly, at some point, I'm just like, you hear like about forest fires in different regions of the world every year, and they say every year it's getting worse, and I'm just thinking,
well, how do we have grass?
Yeah, it's like, how do you have anything left by now? This has been going on forever.
Well, we've talked about in our environmental episode about the reason we have so many forest fires in Chile is not just due to the drought, it is also due to the dictatorship planting, too much millennialism, planting eucalyptus trees and pine trees, which grow really fast. But they did it for industries, but they suck the water out of the ground to the native trees, which are more resistant to the forest fires, but the pines and the eucalyptus burn very quickly, and they're not native to Chile. Did you not know this? You didn't listen to our episode? That was before Lenny's time.
I did, but I can't, I don't remember everything.
Okay, well, the dictatorship posted this to like create a lumber industry, and now it's contributing horribly to the forest fires because they are extremely dry and they suck the moisture also out of the ground, and it's a bad thing.
Well, the more you know.
The more you know, the more you grow. So anyway, in the wake of massive forest fires in Quillón, in the Ñuble region, Chilean Agriculture Minister Maria Emilia Undurraga declared an agriculture emergency on Tuesday. Local authorities reported that several regions face an extreme crisis of water due to lack of rainfall, resulting in the rapid spread of forest fires. Undurraga said the country is affected by 179 forest fires, which have reached over 20,000 hectares of land between the center and southern parts of the nation. She said, after consulting with the Emergency Operational Committee, we have decided to decree an agricultural emergency for the Quillón Comuna, which has 2,100 hectares affected as a result of the forest fires that have affected the area. That was her tweet. So Minister of Interior Rodrigo Delgado also arrived in Quillón on Tuesday. So that's this past Tuesday, so it would have been the 28th, to take stock of situations and lead an emergency committee formed to deal with the forest fires. It is necessary here to mention that due to the possibility of disaster, several regions across the country are under different types of alerts, and of many other regions that have been marked at the maximum alert level. Most fire incidents occur in sparsely populated wooded areas, putting the urban areas at risk as fires can quickly expand to nearby regions if preventative measures are not applied. So, according to the Chilean government, the main cause of forest fires is low humidity and high temperatures. And forest fires to 2,100 hectares and 5 houses were consumed in Quillón and in La Araucana. It says La Araucana. No, it says okay, it's the Araucanía, but this article spelled it wrong. Right. How dare you, New York Times? The fire ravaged around 12,000 hectares of forest and destroyed small farmers' crops in the area. This year, the country has reported 49 forest fires so far, 20 of them still active as of yesterday.
Not fun.
Not fun. That's not hot.
Man, yeah, no, I couldn't imagine living in a... Yeah, that is it. Oh, God damn it. It's getting late, people.
Yeah. We spent 2 hours trying to get the sound to work, so I'm a little delirious.
And the puns come to the surface.
Yeah, the puns right up there. So, yeah, that's fire.
That's fire.
We're on fire.
We're on fire.
Do you have anything else for news before we jump into talking about the presidential election?
Yeah, actually, I got a few short, quick points, which might be of interest to some of our listeners. So, let me start with the fact that the period for renovation of ID card has been extended again. You know that like some of the ID cards that expired in like 2020, the government actually decreed that you don't have to renew them right now because of pandemics. Mm-hmm. So you can like wait until 2021, and they extended it again now. Make no mistake. This is only applies to Chilean nationals. For some reason, they did not include foreigners in that one, so I don't know why.
Even residents?
Even residents, yeah, that's what I read. I mean, like, you can't be a foreigner and have a carnet if you're not a resident, so...
No, yeah,
so
that's true.
So it's late, yeah. So basically, but if you're Chilean and you're listening to that, so listen up, this is getting complicated. It says like ID cards with an expiration date between March and December 2020 and 2021 will be valid until the same day on the document, but for the year 2022, and for ID cards that expired or will expire in January or February 2020, 2021, and 2022, it will be extended until the same day as indicated on the document, but for the year 2023. So you might want to rewind and listen to this a couple of times because I don't know why they made it so complicated, but it is.
Because hashtag Chile.
Yeah, I'm kidding. So that's one thing.
My carnet's been expired for like 2 years because I'm still in tramite with my visa. So it's just like chilling, expired.
God, yeah. No, actually, I renewed mine last year because I had to renew my passport too, and I didn't want to risk that they at the embassy they would say like, yeah, that's a no-go because the carnet is expired, So
you don't have a Chilean passport though.
No, my German passport, but they ask for your Chilean carnet for some reason.
Yeah, that's weird because I also renewed my passport last year.
I guess every country has their own rules.
And they didn't care about they were like, you're American, give me your social security number. And then
what's this country you're living in again called?
They had also like 6 different documents that had the exact same like spelling and like the exact same document, but the title at the top of the page was different. And I had like kept filling out the wrong one, and they were like, "No, it's the form 16-1." I'm like, "But they're the exact same form." And he's like, "Yeah, but it has to be form 16-1." Like, but it's the exact same form.
What's the matter with you? Oh God, you gotta love bureaucracy. Yeah. Yeah. No, but I renewed my carnet, and that was actually. I mean, I still had to make an appointment for 2 months in advance and whatever, but that went actually pretty smoothly. I was surprised.
Yeah, well, I think I mine was super fast, but I think I hit it because I hit it during phase 1 in 2020, like right before the rush. Now apparently there's a backlog that's insane, at least in the U.S. I bet if you got it done here though, it'd be faster than if you tried to do it in the
You still
US.
got to stand in line and everything, but once it's your turn, they go like, okay, please hand me your old carnet, look at the camera, picture here, what's your fingerprint, your signature, okay, come back next week.
Yeah, I think it
boom, that's it.
I think it depends on the country, right? So, because mine, of course, I had to take my own picture. Like,
I'm sorry, talking about the...
the carnet thing. Right. Oh, no. Yeah, that's easy.
Oh, no. Renewing my German passport, that was a completely different story.
Oh, yeah, let's not get into that.
No, please, no, we don't have the time for that. So, that is that. Another thing that might be of interest to Chileans who want to travel to the US anytime soon, in spite of the pandemics. There has been fake news going around that the visa waiver program that Chile is a part of, also known as the ESTA, has been canceled because communism?
Oh my God. My suegra, my boyfriend's mother, freaked out because Boric got elected. We went to see her like 2 days later, and she's in the U.S. now, so she was going to go to the U.S. And she was like, they canceled my visa waiver, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, Tatiana, no, they didn't. And she was like, yes, they did. Look at this. And it was like a screenshot of somebody else's like phone, WhatsApp. And I was like,
El tío me mandó eso.
And she was like, and I was like, okay, so when did they? I mean, it had been 2 days since Boric had been elected. In 2 days, and she was like, see, they did this already. I was like, Tatiana, first of all, I'm gonna look it up on the actual government website, But Joe Biden just called him and was like, congratulations. I don't think he would have been like, congratulations, no more Chileans. Yeah. Like, it doesn't make sense. And of course, I looked it up on the official government website, and they were like, that's fake news.
There were who inquired on Twitter. They attacked the Chilean, the U.S. Embassy here in Chile.
And the U.S. Embassy is like,
is that true? They were like, nah, that ain't true. We're still good.
Well, the reason why I think that this rumor got started was because months ago, there was an inquiry.
Yeah, about this Chinese.
Because the people process something about the people processing the actual visas is a Chinese company, like putting the visas together. Like, is a Chinese company, so the U.S. like made an inquiry about like what was going on with that, and then the risk if the inquiry went badly would have been the visa waiver program ending. So somehow of course, nothing happened, nothing came of it, but somehow these wires got crossed.
Yeah, no, they were like Visa, China, communism.
Visa, China, communism,
bam,
and
full circle.
My suegra was so confident, like she was like kind of like filing her nails, drinking tea, like, see what your president did? See, I'm sure. And my boyfriend was like, so when do you think this is gonna come into effect? She's like, I'm sure it's March, because as if you don't know, that's when Boric takes office, is in March. And of course, I looked up the government website, and I was like, no. Also, just Tatiana, don't don't believe things. They're like a screenshot of somebody's WhatsApp. That's like somebody's like a meme. Like, just look it up on the U.S. website. That's easy. Just do that.
I just love this meme. The card player who just goes like, he just slams the card on the table. You seen that? And there was like this whole thing. The other card players are like the family chat, and then the guy that slams the card on the table is like my aunt with fake news that somebody sent her she sends to the WhatsApp family chat. Like, bam.
I just don't understand. Like, it is 2021. How people run with that kind of thing. Because anytime somebody tells me anything like that, again, I have the same reaction my suegra said, because my suegra was like, the Visa Waiver Program, and I was like, really? Immediately popped out my phone and started Googling it.
Yeah, but you're a millennial. Like,
but I don't understand
but you don't have, she doesn't have the same kind of media education as we did, you know?
I guess I get that, but also, she's constantly on her phone, spend 2 seconds verifying if the stuff, like, 2 seconds. Especially since she was about to travel to the U.S. She was like, she was researching different ways to get visas, so she can spend hours doing that and not 2 seconds Googling if it was even true.
I don't think it's not that she's not able to do it, but I think I just guess that this generation is just still wired in a way that, okay, if like information comes to me through channels that look more or less official to my brain, like why would I question that?
Okay,
like I guess it's like, I don't know. I'm like an armchair psychologist here, but it's.
I just don't, I mean, again, sure, millennial education, whatever. I'm like, you're suspended from your phone, Tatiana, for a good few days.
Go to your room.
Go to your room. How dare you? And this woman also has told me that I've posted fake news before when I posted something from the New York Times, and I'm like,
mainstream media, man.
No, because it was like, of course, it was like an article about, because she's right, like she's like cast supporter kind of situation, and it was like an article about the human rights violations that were happening in Chile, and she was like, no, this is not true. And I was like, okay, well, the like International Human Rights Watch says it's true, so I'm gonna go with what they say. Okay, I'm gonna go with what they say.
Yep, makes sense.
So, anyway, what else do you got?
Yeah. Well, there is actually a new holiday in the making.
Holiday.
A holiday in the making called the National Day of Democracy, which just basically the lower house just passed a bill that would make October 25 a national holiday. And the day commemorates the Marcha Más Grande de Chile, the biggest march of Chile on October 25, 2019, in which more than 1.2 million people participated, as well as the referendum on the new constitution in 2020, so you take your pick. Basically commemorates both things.
How am I in Mexico
every time? And the bill will be passed on to the Senate now and will be discussed there. And Penguin was there at the march.
Were you not there?
I wasn't there. I think I was in the. Yeah, I don't know. What was I?
I wasn't there. I was in Mexico when La Vieja Lucia died, and I was in Mexico during the biggest march of Chilean history.
Mexico then too?
Yeah.
We've been going to Mexico a lot lately.
Well, I have a timeshare in Mexico. Or I don't have one. I didn't buy it. I inherited it from my. I know.
Oh, that's even worse.
I know. I'm a horrible person. So.
Yeah. You wanna do the honors and make the official.
Oh, so the official announcement. So Gabriel Boric Font is the new president-elect of Chile, if you didn't know. So everybody's super excited. That's not a true statement.
Not everybody.
A lot of people, the majority of Chileans, as per democracy indicates, are pretty excited about it. I actually went out to the Plaza de la Dignidad.
Put shit on fire. No, just kidding.
No. To watch him speak live. It was actually right in front of, in front of the library, the National Library.
Congress.
And it was right in front of the National Library.
It's not, I think I'm confusing countries here. Library of Congress. But isn't there
That's the U.S.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Library of Congress. That's from National Treasure.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking. It's just the National Library, dude.
I guess my wires just crossed.
Okay,
it's
so
late, guys.
I went out there to watch him speak, and it was a good time. Everybody was super happy. There was a lot of dancing, a lot of people passing out because they had been standing too long, but a lot of beer in the street. And weirdly enough, I got one that was super icy cold. I was like, man.
Today's my day.
Yeah, it's super, because usually street beer is nice and warm. And it was a hot day too. So that's what happened. You went out too, Paz Nuñoa.
Yeah, I just did a little
dilly-dallying.
Dilly-dallying. I was like, might as well check out what's going on. And I did not expect what expected me there. I thought there were I knew there was going to be a hullabaloo going on there, but that place was just packed. Like people were on the streets dancing, singing, doing all kinds of shenanigans.
It was a very happy
and I was just like, COVID? Because not everybody was wearing their masks. I was like, God.
I will say I was lucky. Everybody, because again, we were crammed like sardines.
Yeah.
Trying to see the stage, and I was still pretty far. Like I got close enough to where I could see the stage, and hear Boric speak. But at no way would I say that I was close. So, for example, for people who know Chile really well, so he was in front of the National Library. I was probably I was closer to Universidad Católica, like a little bit further down from Católica.
Yeah, I have no plan of this in my head. But,
so I could hear him, not really see him, but they had him projected really big, and we were all crammed like sardines, but everybody around me had masks on, which was...
At least that's responsible.
Yeah, crammed like sardines. So far, I was like 90% vaccine rate, 90% vaccine rate, 90% vaccine rate, just like saying that to myself over and over. Like, we were fine, this is fine, everything's fine. Historical day in Chile.
Exactly. The room's on fire. It's going to be fine. It's going to be fine.
Drinking and then pulling my mouth down to drink my beer, which was totally safe. But I was like, but it's just infecting my mouth.
So that was a very roundabout of saying that Boric is the new president of the country. So he won with 55.87%, while his contender Jose Antonio Cast got merely 44.13%, which is an 11% breach. And this has been an election of records. Like first, like at 35 years young, Boric is the youngest president in the history of Chile. Actually, he's even younger than the next youngest would be Miguel Blanco Encalada, who was sworn in 1826. And he was 36.
Oh,
yeah.
Barely.
And I think he was. I don't know if he was sworn in or elected by that time. I would have to look that up because Boric is going to be 36 when he's going to be sworn in.
So, right in March.
Yeah, I don't know. He's still like going head to head with Miguel Blanco there. So.
And he got the most votes of any Chilean candidate ever.
Exactly, with 4,605,352. I totally did this off my head now. I have nothing written down here. So to compare, the record so far was held by Piñera of all people,
God.
in the 2017 runoff with 3,790,397. So which means that Boric got about 22% more votes than Piñera, which is
the second one before that was Frey.
Before Piñera? Or
yeah,
before,
but I think that was when the vote was obligatory. Yeah.
Yeah. No. But actually, yes. But I actually checked the numbers there too, and. Yes, the vote there was mandatory voting, but the thing is that it didn't mean that everybody of age had to vote. You had to enroll, and then once you're enrolled, there was no way out. But like
the way they do in the U.S.
Because another record that we have here, because this was also basically the election with the most overall votes cast, no pun intended, in any election.
Even the apruebo rechazo.
Yeah, even that, which was 8,328,761, and actually I compared this to early elections, even when it was still mandatory, and they didn't even come close. They didn't even come close because not as many people enrolled there. Yeah, I've done my research, people.
He did his research. Yeah. Pinguino, back
off. Yeah, but as you said, like this...
Pinguinos are fact checkers, so that's why if you hear us talking to Pinguino...
It's going to come back to bite me in the ass.
Yeah, if you hear us talking to Pinguino and you don't hear him, it's because he, stops us and is like, no, guys, look, and then...
Yeah, you're wrong.
And then we're like, no, wait.
Yeah.
So he's a fact
But you already
checker.
mentioned that, to compare the second place...
Stop tapping on the table.
I'm just very...
Leonard.
Passionate about these things, numbers and stats. It's what gets my juices flowing. So to compare, the second place takes the 2020 referendum, had an overall of 7,562,173 votes, which is 800,000 fewer than what Boric, not Boric, but this last run of election.
Right.
So, yeah, and curiously enough, you know what didn't happen?
The
Parisi effect didn't happen.
It
happened to Boric, if you will, but which is funny because a lot of So that's this really nice saying in Chile, which goes, después de la guerra somos todos generales. After the war, we're all generals.
Mm-hmm.
And I totally want to say that, I could totally see that coming. Of course, Boric was going to win, but then I'm probably going to listen to earlier podcasts, and I probably had my doubts about this. So,
I mean, everybody I think that I've talked to because here's the thing, is so many people thought Boric was going to win, but there was so much fear, and so much shock after Kast beat him during the primaries, and Boric is the first ever president to win when he lost the primaries.
True, good point.
So there was a lot of people that were like, reasonably, it should be Boric, but man.
Yeah. Yeah, but the thing is that there were a lot of
and there were a lot of changes
knowns, and there were a lot of unknowns there. Like the knowns were like everybody knew that, if not all, but then a big majority of everybody who voted for Artes, for Provoste, for Mayo was probably going to vote for Boric.
Yeah.
The big unknown there was Parisi. Where were the Parisi voted?
I hate that we had to, we as a nation had to give him so much attention, because he's such a, if you don't know who Parisi is, if you've listened to one of our previous podcasts, he was a candidate. He's not legally allowed to come into Chile because he hasn't paid his child support.
I mean, he's legally allowed into Chile, but then what's going to happen,
then he'll get arrested because he hasn't paid his child support. And the thing is because everybody sort of looked at him sort of like as the swing votes. Everybody was like, oh, what's going to happen? And he invited Boric and Kast to be on his podcast and was throwing his weight around and acting like a big dude. And then in the end, it
actually one of the columnists there in the Chile Today, he put it in a very nice way. He said and the third place was taken by a YouTuber who hasn't set foot in Chile in a decade.
Yeah, because
he just called him a YouTuber. It was that's kind of sums it up.
And also he's such an asshole because so he hasn't paid his child support. That's shitty. And then after the election, he goes as far as to say there's nothing for me in Chile anymore. I'm not returning. I'm like, bitch, you have kids here.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, man,
you have kids.
Yep.
He literally said, "There's nothing for me in Chile," and his kids sitting in front of the TV
Dude, I was planning on saying this. I was like, okay, no, I'm gonna take this out of my docket there because it's too long. But yeah.
Oh my gosh, I cannot with that man.
I have nothing in Chile.
He's gonna be dad now.
Oh yeah, his new wife, I don't know if it's his girlfriend or his wife, is pregnant, and I'm like, if I were her, I would whatever. Let's not armchair psychologists,
exactly.
whatever.
So, but anyway, basically people thought, okay, what's going to happen with the Parisi votes? Because the thing is that it wasn't really easy to tell, because this could go either way, because he's kind of liberal economically but also liberal socially, so it really depends on.
And you can't, I personally can't imagine, I couldn't imagine somebody who would vote for Parisi voting for Boric. We have this leftish, as I like to say, left-wing guy who's super fan, I don't know, Boric would definitely, punish somebody very harshly for not paying their child support, kinds of things like that. That's a weird swing.
Yeah. And even Parisi himself, he did endorse Kast, he was like, yep, nope, not gonna
because Boric would not pescar, he was not gonna go on that podcast. He was not gonna pay attention to Parisi.
I mean, it was kind of you could see it coming that Parisi was going to endorse Kast.
Yeah, but then he just wanted to throw his weight around and get viewers on YouTube and stuff. That's literally all he wanted.
Hit subscribe now.
Hit subscribe now for all my...
But, that just goes, in my opinion, that just goes to show that, endorsements are completely, overrated. But especially in a polarizing environment as this one.
You say that, but I really think that having Bachelet's endorsement for Boric, Bachelet's the former president of Chile, really helped him.
Yeah, you think
because
so?
She's moderate. She's very moderate. And there are a lot of people who very much idealize her. And so she came out apparently on the right, because I have friends who worked for the Boric campaign. Apparently that was a huge thing for their campaign when she came out and was publicly, I support Boric, because that happened only a few days before the actual election. The second election.
I'd be interested to see what you call it, encuesta,
a questionnaire, a poll.
A poll, right? Not that I don't take you by your word, but I would
Oh, sure.
It would be interesting to see the stats on that.
I know is the only perspective I can tell about that is the fact that Boric's campaign, the people working for them, they all saw that as huge. So in their minds and what they've told me is that was one of the biggest the biggest like moves forward. That and what's her name, Siches. Siches being his campaign manager. Campaign manager, was that what she was? Yeah, campaign manager.
And
Siches.
Jackson was spokesperson, I think.
Giorgio.
He was his campaign manager for the first.
Yeah, Giorgio.
For that first, then after the election, he became a spokesperson, and he just took over his job.
Yeah, so Siches also was like a huge thing because she was a campaign manager. Was the president of the medical board of Chile.
The medical college.
She's very she's not super right wing, but she is right wing. She's like she's
leftist.
Sorry, I didn't mean right. I meant leftist. Sorry. Strike me from the record. I meant leftist. That came out of my.
They marched in college together.
Yeah, I know. I've seen the pictures.
No, I mean, like, say that.
That's bonding.
No, I mean, yeah, they go way back. They marched together and stuff in the past. But she's very like people see her again, according to who I've talked to in the campaign, who told me that they were the Bachelet and her were very big. They were big on getting women votes.
Yeah.
Because another reason they say that Boric won was they were like his biggest voters were women under 30. Because she is very much like stands out in public, breastfeeding her child and like all of these things, like I'm not ashamed to be a mother and being a mother is one of the most important things. And so all of these women who were on the fence about like abortion, people who support abortion want to kill babies, saw this woman standing up there who's very much a proud mother. And from what they told me, that was a big swing in Boric's favor. That he had more women there at the front giving him support.
All right. Yeah, makes sense in a way. So yeah, coming back to Parisi, I know that you don't want to talk about him.
Fuck that guy. We can talk about him. Yes, Pinguino reminded me of something I wanted to say. Also, another reason why everybody loved her is she's from the north, and Boric needed those northern votes.
And he totally got those.
Yep.
So, Parisi. Man, you completely threw me off right now.
Sorry.
So basically, there was actually, I read a quick interview with somebody called Estela Lavín. She was from Panel Ciudadano. And she said that she kind of like explained this whole thing, why most of the votes from Parisi went to Boric instead of Cast. He said that the right has always perceived Parisi as one of them due to his like pro-entrepreneurship and innovation rhetoric. But at the same time, he also railed against the political and economic elites, which is very much a discourse that has a lot more traction on the left side of the spectrum. Right. So, that issue apparently took precedence over Cast's war on crime, because that was apparently to a lot of people had a lot more importance and a lot more relevance than the whole crime issue.
Right, but another thing that Boric did, which he got a lot of flack from the left about, but was smart, was after the primaries, he started to incorporate more tough on crime ideas and words into his speeches and into his debates, even in his winning speech. It was funny because, again, I'm standing in this group of all of these, and they were mostly really young people, right, who were not the Parisi voters, right? They were the young leftists that are in the streets at 10 at night sweating like pigs to watch this guy speak, right? And do leftists sweat? I can tell you I was sweating and the people around me were sweating. So unless these were cast voters all around me, and then, anyway. So in his speech, he actually mentioned narcotraficos and blah, blah, blah in his winning speech. And I remember at the time everybody was around me scoffed because it was such a non-Boric thing to say, and it was so obviously pandering to this idea that's something he feels like there's been a lot of this lately since he's gotten elected. A lot of you can tell he's really trying to reach across the aisle as much as he's letting himself do.
He's got to be president of everybody now,
And he really, I see him trying to do that because he says some things now that again are probably the right things to do, but they make me a little bit uncomfortable. And I'm like, but he's doing I can tell he's really trying to reach across the aisle, and it's an interesting thing.
Okay, I want to say something that you probably don't agree with, and you might want to fight me on this.
Damn it, Lenny.
I think this whole thing has been more an anti-Cast than a pro-Boric vote, to be honest. I think people...
Probably. No, I'm not going to fight on that.
I was looking forward to that. Okay. No, yeah, but I get...
Because Cast was just horrible, and really, just... The things he said about women, the things he said about LGBTQ people, the things he said about immigrants, it's just
I'm not... If it had been Sichel instead of Cast, I wouldn't be so sure that
Boric would have won. No, maybe not. But again, I don't know, because again, Sichel couldn't get past the primaries because he... If Sichel hadn't been such a dummy and had actually...
he put his foot in it a couple of times.
Yeah, if he had actually not done illegal stuff, then
come on. Don't put the bar too high.
Again, for example, just one of my students was telling me that his mother... Oh, this is another huge thing that swayed people to vote for Boric, which this might... Well, I say this might not seem like a big deal. I think everyone listening would be like, yeah, I can see that. So Penguin is probably going to have to jump in here and correct me on a little of the details. But there was a vote against the cruelty of animals, like to make like certain, like the abuse of animals illegal, right? And there was a... What?
Le Chulito.
Le Chulito. Yeah, and to make the abuse of animals illegal, right? And the only person who voted against that bill was Cast. Every other congressperson was, it should be illegal to abuse animals, and Cast was like, no.
And what was his reasoning? It was something very outlandish.
I saw the video. There was a video where he explained why, but
it's not necessary because
people, I don't know.
People don't do it because people's liberty to be able to decide about
people's liberty to be able to decide if they hurt.
Man should be above animal.
Anyway, so my student said like his mother voted, like went out, does not vote, went out and voted for Boric, the first leftist candidate she's ever voted for, because Cast voted against the animal cruelty bill. And I was like, okay then. So like you saying
that's
like
what it takes. Fine,
I mean, you saying that it was more against Cast than for Boric. So I believe, I mean, this woman was like, I'm not voting for a guy that thinks that it's okay to be cruel to animals.
Yeah.
And like, and of course now we have Brownie.
Of course we have Brownie.
We have to mention Brownie.
The first dog.
So Brownie is the first dog of Chile.
Twitter account.
He's adorable. He has his own Twitter and his own Instagram.
Oh boy.
And okay, so stories.
Composure.
So he's adorable, right? And you should follow him, and he's funny. And he actually posts, whoever is posting it, I'm sure it's not Boric, I'm sure maybe one of his brothers or something.
I think Boric
posts a lot of stuff about animal rights. No, Boric spends all day posting about Brownie.
What presidency? What do you mean?
In the middle of the meeting. Wait.
Like, you got a cabinet to form. Like, what are you talking about?
That man has been working like nonstop because he's been tweeting all the time. Oh man, he's working. Okay, I mean, as he's supposed to. So what I was gonna say is, whoever is running Brownie's page, which I guarantee it's not Boric, because they posted this video of Brownie, and it was like running around the background, and the song is, he's a happy dog, but if you listen to the lyrics, at the very end it says, he's such a happy dog, we're gonna cut off his balls, and in 10 years we'll put him to sleep. And I was like,
oh my god. Where did that song come from?
Oh my god, I don't think they listened to the lyrics. I mean, of course, the lyrics were in English. And
happy dog, fine.
Enough. We'll cut off his balls, and in 10 years, we'll put him to sleep. And I was like, holy nope, they did not. And the thing is, I looked at the comments, and nobody, like, pointed it out. And so I had to type there.
Dodged a bullet.
I had to type there. I put it
out. Traitor.
No, I just meant, I was like, guys, nobody noticing this? Like, nobody's like noticed the use of the word balls and put him to, like, okay, whatever.
I thought he was just playing fetch with the balls. My gosh.
It was I couldn't stop laughing because I was like, they saw Happy Dog like lyrics and probably just uploaded that with the background and like listened to it a little bit, and then I was like, oh, it's cute, because it was a cute song, but because I was like, oh, it's so cute. Wait, what? Anyway, Brownie is adorable. You should follow him, and he does all these things about like animal rights. So he's an animal rights activist. Brownie is.
Oh well, yeah. Well, I really hope that Boric can push through a lot of the things that he has on his agenda. But I mean, realistically,
those are
realistically closer to the mic. I think personally that I hope people are not exceeding their own expectations there, because there's not going to be a lot of change going on, to be honest, because he has to deal with a very fragmented Congress.
Yeah.
There's going to be a shift to the left, definitely, throughout the next 4 years. That's how I see it. And I think, and that's actually one of the most important things right now, I think there's going to be peace and quiet on the streets for at least the next couple of months.
That's the thing.
Until people get like antsy, they notice, hold on, changes are not happening immediately. We got to go out again, This is going to happen. But for now, peace and quiet.
I feel like So actually something I've written down here is Boric actually met with Beep Boop Bop, the general director of the Carabineros, Richard Yanez, which again, controversial move on his part. Like, you know.
But also presidential duty
but
in a way.
He's, again, that's why I'm like, go best friend. You know, like he's trying to do his job in the way that he's supposed to be doing his job. Good for him. You know, it might not be something a lot of people agree with because a lot of people, I mean, yes, the Carabineros have committed crimes against humanity since the estallido, since the social movement. And he is sitting down with them and talking things out with them. And that is really a great thing. I mean, it's hard to swallow in some ways, especially if you have a family member who's... He is, I mean, again, he has been, you know, it's funny because people are like, he's so young. I'm like, this guy has been sitting down at the table with politicians since he was 13 years old. He has been in the room with politicians since he was 13 years old.
In the room where it happened.
In the room where it happened, the room where it happened. And he, I mean, so he's not intimidated, and he's going to do what he needs to do. And that's impressive. Like, I get it, it's uncomfortable. It, you know, it kind of makes me go, ugh, a little, but it's what he's supposed to be doing. So he met with Yanez, and Boric said, regardless of the criticism that I may have and the improvements that the institution has to have, we have to make them together with the Carabineros, and that is what we discussed with the general director of the Carabineros, Mr. Yanez, today. So he's going straight to the top and being like, this thing's got to change. But I think that it is really a smart move from him because, again, he's being very diplomatic about it, and I think that's the best way that he's going to provoke change in Chile right now.
And this is also a great signal, and actually I'm going to get to that point more specifically a little further on, but this is what he's doing right now. He's basically sending out signals saying, I'm not a radical leftist. I'm not trying to overthrow the system here.
Yep.
I'm trying to aim for peace and quiet. Don't worry, Chile's not going to burn.
Yeah.
Please come back and bring your money.
Yeah. I mean, because he's not stupid. Like, he is, he's a modern day leftist.
Right.
So he knows how things work. And, it's been, the thing is the only people that are scared of Boric are Chileans, right? Or people living in...
You're kidding.
No, I mean, seriously, because, like, the rest of the world is not like... It's not like shying away from him. Canada is reaching out. The U.S. has reached out. France has reached out. Germany's reached out. Even Bolsonaro has reached out. Like, people from all over the world are congratulating Boric and...
Yeah, well, I think Bolsonaro says congratulations to the Chilean people.
No. I 100% know that was through gritted teeth from Bolsonaro. But what I'm saying is the world's not scared of what's happening in Chile. Only Chileans are, because they've been listening to this discourse from Cast.
Yeah.
For the past year that Boric is going... No, not only
It's
Cast.
so ingrained in this culture that, like, everything left of center is communism.
I mean, because, again, it's the history of this country, right? That's how you...
The center is way to the right.
Yeah. I mean, it's the history of this country, right? So you can't maintain the type of dictatorship they maintained for so long and then almost, like, win the C vote without having a really good propaganda machine.
Makes sense. Yeah.
I mean, they had the best propaganda machine supported by one of the most powerful countries in the world. So that's neither here nor there. But Boric went on to say, back to the Paco thing, Boric went on to say that that was what I already read. He said that they have the peace of mind right now, the Carabineros in particular. Something that worries Yanez a lot is the issue of pensions, which I'm not quite sure why he wanted to talk about pensions, but that's what what Yanez wanted to talk about. And he said that he was worried, and Boric told him that he wasn't going to do anything foolishly and insanely.
Foolish.
That everything is going to be discussed together with many people involved. People are very scared about their pensions because that's one of the things Boric is targeting immediately, is the AFPs.
Like the pension. Okay, not just for the Carabineros. Yeah, that is a big issue. Actually, people have brought this up. Like, you need to tackle this because this is a hot button topic.
That's actually getting to that. So, but sticking with the Carabineros thing.
So many things to talk about.
Yeah. So Boric wants to refound the Carabineros, to re-establish rights in the institution, because from his perspective, one of the reasons why the institution is doing so many bad things is because from the beginning of the training all the way to where they get on the streets, it's just not working anymore. So he just wants to sort of refound them because, again, they were refounded on very violent discourse.
Right.
So, like, refounding them in maybe a discourse of, like, instead of, like, keeping the peace, protecting people, right? Coming at it from a different angle. And Boric said, a reform of the Carabineros is required, and the General Yanez tells me that they are very available to have this conversation and not only a declaration of good intentions, but to execute them. I'm like, damn!
Yeah, but I mean, what else was he going to say?
Well, no, but I think, again, these conversations are being had, and the general could have been like, I really don't think this is going to work. Like, I'm very hesitant.
Please escort Mr. Boric out of the building.
Right, yeah. Like, or he could have refused to talk with him.
Right.
Especially because, again, Boric is the face of the estallido.
Yeah.
Like, one of the faces, really. And they had a meeting, and apparently it was fruitful. Again, I think it's a good sign. Cautiously moving forward.
Yeah,
Again,
totally
uncomfortable. It's kind of an uncomfortable thing to say because you're like, okay, so this institution has committed human rights. It's done some really horrible things, and now the president-elect from the left is talking with them like, okay, make sure you're not, because he still wants to represent those victims, right? But he also knows that he has a bigger job. He has a bigger job to do. So, anyway, so pensions related to that. Okay, so Boric was talking about Piñera's pension reform, saying that it is bread for today and hunger for tomorrow. It's called the Universal Guaranteed Pension, the PGU, and it's an economic aid of 185,000 pesos for all adults over 65 who belong to the 90% of the most vulnerable population. I could talk about how that wouldn't work for an hour, but anyway, so what Boric wants to do is to... Again, it's... Okay, so let me just say what Giorgio Jackson said. He tweeted, "We want to advance in higher pensions and in greater coverage, but the project that the government presented has no financing, which is fiscally irresponsible and may leave a financial hole for the next government." So again, like, you can't just propose things that you can't do.
Yeah, but you know what I think it's funny, and I don't mean this in a sarcastic way or anything. It's just like this whole discourse of like, well, how do you want to finance that is usually the right harping the left-wing projects, and all of a sudden Boric is just now basically just railing against Piñera. I was like, well, have you thought this through financially? It was like, what is going on?
Again,
the tables have turned.
It's the new left. It's the educated left, right? Like, these people, if you're going to be a leftist in 2021, how many times have you had to talk to people and defend the way that you believe, especially in a country like Chile? Yeah. You got to be highly educated, highly intelligent.
But during his campaign trail, like, how many times did the right-wing question Boric's plans? That was just the whole irony of this
and Boric is just like, let me pull out this thing and when like the scroll like going all the way around. These are the ways I'm going to finance this. Because that's always, that's the discourse of the right. They just like have those hot button things. How are you going to finance it? How are you going to finance it? How are you going to finance it? And it's like, dude, this is the way. How is he going to finance that shit? Nobody's asking Piñera that question. Anyway,
Deep breath.
Boric said, "I believe that we all agree that we have a duty to improve the pensions of the Chileans, and that there is no political fight that justifies the fact that Chileans who have worked all their lives should continue with miserable pensions." And he also said, "What the government has presented so far, we believe it is moving in the right direction in the idea of universal guaranteed pensions, but we're going to work in our government so that it is a higher amount and gives dignity to all the elderly." And he says we're going to have all the necessary conversations in Parliament with the government to seek to solve this problem, because we cannot approve something at the last minute if we're not going to be able to finance it. He said, "I am open, and we have discussed it with parliamentarians and debated it. It is not slamming doors or making political roosters," which I'm not sure. That's I think that's a weird translation. Yeah. "The important thing is that the pensions rise in a responsible and sustainable way over time." Hot.
Nice.
So, guys, we're going to have to do this in 2 parts because we just got a lot to say. We got a lot to say, so I hope you enjoyed the first part. So we're going to continue talking about Boric, the aftermath of the elections, what the international community thinks in our next episode. So stay looking forward to part 2, and we'll see you in 2. The Chile Chile Today podcast is produced and edited by Podcast Pinguino Diego Rivera, and it is starring Leonard Kluge and Bethany Francis. Nice.
Oh, but one of these days I just want you to not butcher my name. Leonard Kluge, you mean?
Leonard Kluge. Bye!